Words carry direction, and many people underestimate how deeply their daily language shapes their financial reality. Every sentence spoken about money, opportunity, or success plants a seed in the mind. When someone repeatedly says that nothing good ever happens for them, or that financial breakthrough is impossible, those words slowly train the mind to look only for evidence that confirms those statements. Over time, this pattern becomes a habit that limits creativity and expectation. But when a person intentionally changes the language they use, something begins to shift internally. Instead of reinforcing limitation, they begin speaking with clarity and confidence about provision, progress, and possibility. This does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist. It means refusing to let those challenges become the final conclusion. When a person declares that new opportunities can appear, that solutions are forming, and that their work will produce results, they begin directing their focus toward growth. Words act like instructions to the mind, guiding attention toward paths that support what has been spoken. Gradually, the atmosphere of thought changes, and the person becomes more aware of ideas, relationships, and openings that were previously overlooked. This is why consistent spoken declarations can become a powerful discipline. They reshape internal dialogue and replace quiet fear with steady expectation. The practice of intentional declaration also strengthens emotional stability during uncertain moments. Financial journeys often include seasons where results are not immediately visible. In those periods, it becomes easy to fall into discouraging language. However, disciplined speech helps protect the mind from sinking into negativity. When someone continues to speak words of gratitude, hope, and confidence, they create a mental environment where perseverance becomes easier. Declarations are not magical formulas. They are reminders that guide attention toward constructive thinking. For example, a person might begin each day by acknowledging that opportunities can arise through creativity, diligence, and wise decisions. Repeating such statements encourages the brain to search for practical steps that align with those expectations. Over time, this pattern increases alertness to possibilities that might otherwise pass unnoticed. A conversation, an idea, or a simple change in routine may suddenly reveal a new direction. What makes the difference is the prepared mindset that was shaped through consistent language. By choosing words that reflect belief instead of defeat, individuals gradually build a stronger inner foundation. Their confidence grows not because circumstances instantly change, but because their thinking becomes clearer and more resilient. When the mind is trained this way, it becomes easier to recognize and respond to moments that can lead to genuine financial progress. Belief is the silent architect behind every visible result. Before opportunity appears in the outer world, it is first welcomed or rejected within the mind. Many people say they want financial growth, yet deep inside they carry quiet doubts about whether it is truly possible for them. These doubts often come from past disappointments, difficult environments, or repeated messages that success is limited to a fortunate few. When these thoughts remain unchallenged, they slowly shape expectations. A person may stop exploring possibilities or hesitate when opportunities appear because a hidden voice tells them that success will not last. Focused belief begins when someone decides to question that internal narrative. Instead of repeating stories of limitation, they begin to cultivate the conviction that improvement is achievable through wisdom, persistence, and guidance. This decision does not erase past experiences, but it reinterprets them as lessons rather than permanent barriers. When belief changes, attention changes as well. The mind becomes more alert to ideas that support progress, and situations that once felt impossible begin to look manageable. This shift does not require dramatic declarations or unrealistic optimism. It simply requires consistent reinforcement of a healthier expectation that effort, discipline, and openness to learning can lead to better outcomes. Over time, this belief strengthens emotional endurance. Challenges are no longer viewed as final defeats, but as temporary obstacles within a larger journey. A person who believes growth is possible continues to move forward even when results take time to appear. Focused belief also influences the way decisions are made each day. When someone truly expects improvement, they naturally begin choosing actions that align with that expectation. They invest time in learning new skills, building meaningful relationships, and managing resources with greater care. This behavior does not come from pressure, but from clarity. Belief becomes a guiding force that shapes priorities and encourages thoughtful planning. Instead of reacting impulsively to every difficulty, the person pauses and considers the long-term direction they want their life to follow. This mindset also increases courage. Opportunities often appear in forms that require stepping beyond familiar routines. Without belief, these moments can feel too risky. But when conviction is strong, the individual becomes more willing to explore new paths, collaborate with others, and test creative ideas. Even small successes reinforce confidence, gradually replacing old patterns of doubt. Over time, belief becomes self-sustaining because each positive experience confirms that progress is possible. This process does not promise instant wealth or effortless miracles. Rather, it builds a steady internal foundation that supports wise action. As belief grows stronger, the mind becomes more receptive to guidance, strategy, and disciplined effort. In this way, focused belief acts like a compass, keeping a person oriented toward opportunity even when circumstances temporarily appear uncertain. Gratitude has a quiet but powerful influence on the way a person experiences life and opportunity. Many people believe that gratitude only comes after success, yet in reality, it often becomes the foundation that prepares the mind for greater progress. When someone pauses to appreciate what already exists in their life, their attention begins to shift away from constant comparison and dissatisfaction. Instead of focusing only on what is missing, they begin to notice the resources, skills, relationships, and small advantages already present. This change in perspective reduces anxiety and creates a calmer mental environment where better decisions can be made. A grateful mindset does not ignore challenges, but it refuses to let those challenges erase every sign of progress. When individuals regularly acknowledge the good that already surrounds them, they reinforce the understanding that provision has appeared before and can appear again. This awareness strengthens hope and encourages patience during seasons where results may be developing slowly. Gratitude also influences how people interact with others. Someone who appreciates help, cooperation, and shared effort tends to build stronger relationships because others feel valued in their presence. Over time, those relationships can become sources of collaboration and opportunity. In this way, gratitude quietly expands the environment around a person, making their life more supportive and connected. A consistent practice of gratitude also reshapes emotional habits that often interfere with financial growth. When people constantly dwell on scarcity, they may become defensive or overly cautious with every decision. Fear begins to guide their actions, causing them to avoid reasonable risks or new ideas. Gratitude interrupts this pattern by reminding the mind that life is not defined only by limitation. When someone begins the day by acknowledging simple blessings such as health, knowledge, supportive people, or the chance to work and learn, their emotional state becomes more balanced. This balance makes it easier to think clearly and act wisely. A grateful person tends to approach opportunities with curiosity instead of suspicion, which increases their willingness to explore possibilities that could lead to improvement. Gratitude also encourages generosity, and generosity often strengthens trust between individuals. When trust grows, networks of cooperation become stronger, and new doors may open through shared effort. None of these outcomes happen instantly, but they develop steadily as gratitude becomes a daily habit. By regularly recognizing what is already working in their favor, individuals train their minds to expect continued provision rather than constant loss. This expectation creates emotional stability and optimism that support long-term growth. Over time, gratitude becomes more than a polite attitude. It becomes a guiding perspective that keeps a person grounded, hopeful, and attentive to the many ways opportunity can appear. True transformation begins when thoughts, words, and actions begin moving in the same direction. Many people desire financial progress, yet their daily thinking often pulls them in the opposite direction. They may speak about wanting abundance while quietly expecting disappointment, or they may dream about growth while continuing habits that support limitation. Mental alignment is the process of bringing these different parts of life into harmony. It begins with honest awareness. A person must notice the patterns that shape their reactions to money, opportunity, and responsibility. Once these patterns are recognized, they can gradually be replaced with healthier perspectives. When someone chooses to think about growth, they start evaluating situations with curiosity instead of fear. Challenges become questions to solve rather than walls that stop progress. As these new thoughts form, words begin to reflect them naturally. Conversations shift from complaining about circumstances to discussing possibilities, ideas, and solutions. This change might seem small at first, but language influences attitude, and attitude influences behavior. When the mind and voice start working together, confidence slowly grows. The individual becomes more open to learning new financial habits, exploring creative opportunities, and seeking guidance from people who have experience. Alignment creates clarity, and clarity helps people recognize which actions truly support their goals. As this harmony strengthens, decisions begin to carry greater purpose. Instead of reacting impulsively to every financial pressure, the aligned mind pauses to ask whether a choice supports long-term progress. This simple pause allows wisdom to guide action. For example, someone might decide to organize their resources more carefully, invest time in learning practical skills, or build stronger professional relationships. These actions are not driven by sudden excitement, but by steady understanding. Alignment also encourages discipline, because the individual begins to see how small daily choices influence larger outcomes. A person who thinks about growth, speaks about growth, and acts toward growth gradually builds momentum. Each consistent step reinforces the belief that improvement is possible. Over time, this momentum shapes habits that support stability and responsible financial management. Even when unexpected challenges appear, the aligned person is less likely to panic because their foundation is built on intentional thinking and consistent action. They understand that progress rarely arrives through one dramatic moment, but through many thoughtful decisions made over time. Mental alignment therefore becomes a guiding structure for daily life. It helps individuals remain focused on meaningful goals while navigating ordinary responsibilities. As thoughts, words, and actions continue supporting one another, the path toward opportunity becomes clearer, and the individual gains the confidence needed to move forward with patience and determination. Many meaningful breakthroughs begin quietly, long before anyone else notices them. People often expect success to arrive with immediate visibility, yet the most important preparation usually happens in private seasons where discipline, patience, and clarity are being developed. Quiet preparation is the period where ideas are refined, plans are tested, and personal habits are strengthened without the pressure of constant attention from others. During this stage, individuals have the opportunity to focus deeply on their growth instead of seeking approval or recognition. When a person keeps every plan public too early, they may become distracted by opinions that are not helpful or by the pressure to show results before the foundation is ready. A quieter approach allows space for learning and adjustment. It creates room to ask questions, improve skills, and build confidence step by step. This process may appear slow from the outside, but internally it is a powerful season of formation. Each day of preparation strengthens understanding and reveals what truly works. Gradually, the person becomes more organized in their thinking and more disciplined in their actions. They learn how to manage their resources, refine their goals, and focus their attention on what truly matters. Quiet preparation also encourages reflection. When distractions are reduced, individuals can observe their progress honestly and correct mistakes early. This stage builds resilience because the person learns to continue working even when recognition has not yet arrived. Another benefit of quiet preparation is the development of emotional stability and independence. When progress is not constantly announced or measured by external praise, motivation begins to grow from a deeper place. The individual learns to value the process itself rather than only the visible result. This mindset protects them from discouragement because they understand that every day of learning contributes to the larger journey. Quiet preparation also sharpens observation. Without the noise of unnecessary attention, people often notice opportunities that others overlook. They become more attentive to small improvements, helpful advice, and emerging possibilities in their environment. Over time, this awareness strengthens strategic thinking and patience. When the moment finally comes to act on a prepared idea or opportunity, the individual is not starting from confusion, but from readiness. They have already practiced the discipline required to move forward with confidence. Their plans have been shaped through reflection and careful effort, making them stronger and more practical. This is why quiet seasons should never be mistaken for unproductive ones. They are often the very periods where strength is built and direction becomes clear. When preparation is embraced with patience, the person develops both the character and the capability needed to handle larger opportunities responsibly. By the time visible progress appears, the groundwork has already been established, allowing success to grow on a stable and thoughtful foundation. Visualization is a quiet but meaningful discipline that helps prepare the mind for future possibilities. Before many achievements become visible in the world, they are first imagined within the thoughts of a determined person. Visualization is not about unrealistic fantasy or ignoring practical effort. Instead, it is a deliberate practice of mentally rehearsing the kind of life, responsibility, and opportunity a person hopes to experience. When someone regularly pictures themselves managing resources wisely, making thoughtful decisions, and creating value through their work, the mind begins to treat these images as achievable outcomes rather than distant dreams. This mental rehearsal gradually influences confidence and motivation. The brain becomes more comfortable with the idea that success and stability can exist in everyday life. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the concept of prosperity, the person begins to see it as something that can be built step by step. Visualization also helps clarify goals. When individuals imagine their future with detail and sincerity, they start noticing which habits, skills, and relationships will be necessary to support that vision. This clarity reduces confusion and strengthens focus. Over time, the mind becomes more alert to opportunities that align with the images it has practiced. An unexpected idea, a conversation, or a new learning experience may suddenly appear more significant because it connects with the future the person has already envisioned. Another valuable effect of visualization is the emotional stability it can create during uncertain seasons. Many people lose motivation when progress seems slow or when challenges appear repeatedly. Visualization helps maintain perspective because it reminds the individual of the larger direction they are working toward. When someone closes their eyes and imagines themselves handling success with wisdom and generosity, they reinforce the belief that their effort has purpose. This belief reduces discouragement and encourages persistence. Visualization also strengthens discipline because the imagined future begins to influence present behavior. A person who sees themselves living responsibly and managing opportunities well is more likely to make choices that support that image. They may become more careful with spending, more committed to learning new skills, and more patient with gradual progress. Over time, these small adjustments shape daily habits that move the individual closer to their goals. Visualization therefore becomes a bridge between imagination and action. It gently trains the mind to accept growth while encouraging behaviors that support that growth. When practiced consistently, it creates a sense of familiarity with success long before it fully appears. This familiarity reduces fear and helps individuals respond confidently when genuine opportunities emerge. Rather than feeling unprepared or surprised by positive change, they recognize it as a natural step in the direction they have been mentally preparing for all along. Generosity is often misunderstood as something that only wealthy people can practice, yet in reality, it begins as a mindset long before it becomes a large action. A generous mindset recognizes that resources are meant to move and create value rather than remain trapped in fear or insecurity. When individuals learn to give thoughtfully and sincerely, they begin to see their finances from a wider perspective. Instead of focusing only on personal gain, they begin to recognize how their resources, time, or knowledge can support the well-being of others. This shift changes the emotional relationship a person has with money. Fear slowly gives way to trust, and anxiety begins to be replaced by a sense of purpose. Generosity does not require reckless giving or ignoring personal responsibilities. It encourages wisdom and balance, reminding individuals to manage their resources carefully while still remaining open to helping where it truly matters. When people give with intention, they also strengthen qualities such as compassion, humility, and gratitude. These qualities influence how they interact with others in daily life. Relationships often become warmer and more cooperative because generosity communicates respect and care. Over time, this positive environment can lead to stronger connections that naturally support growth and opportunity. People tend to remember those who contribute positively to their lives, and such memories often lead to trust and collaboration. Another important aspect of generosity is the sense of flow it creates in a person's thinking. When someone constantly worries about losing what they have, their decisions may become defensive and restricted. They may avoid opportunities or relationships because they fear being taken advantage of. Generosity gently breaks this pattern by reminding the mind that value multiplies when it circulates. When people contribute to meaningful causes, assist someone in need, or share knowledge that helps another person succeed, they often experience a deep sense of fulfillment. This emotional reward strengthens motivation and confidence. Generosity also encourages responsibility because individuals who value giving tend to manage their resources more carefully so they can continue supporting others in the future. In this way, generosity becomes a cycle that promotes discipline and thoughtful planning. Over time, it also builds networks of goodwill. The people who experience kindness often respond with loyalty, cooperation, and encouragement. These connections can become powerful sources of support during both prosperous and challenging seasons. Generosity, therefore, does more than assist others. It shapes the character of the giver and strengthens the community around them. By practicing generosity with wisdom and sincerity, individuals develop a healthier relationship with resources and a deeper understanding of how shared success can grow through cooperation and mutual care.